Tuned in to Guardian Radio, your source for Destiny news, tips, and chatter. Sit back, relax, and embrace your destiny.
Welcome everyone to Guardian Radio, the first and longest running Destiny podcast on the net. I am your host, Mark Turcotte, and joining me this week, first up, from inside his closet, my morning fire team brother, K-Dub. K-Dub, what's up, dude?
What's up, boys? So I didn't know that this would ever happen, but I have overnight become the biggest Philadelphia Eagles fan in the history of the world.
Yes. yes, I was swaying.
Fly, Eagles, fly. Man. 2 weeks, baby. Come on, one time. One time.
Okay, well, are you an Eagles fan or are you just rooting against the Patriots? That's the big question, I think, that everybody needs to decide if you're rooting for the Eagles.
Both of those is yes.
So I was chatting with Crucible Radio's Swain, because Swain is just a diehard Eagles fan. All season, him and I have been going back and forth. And that dude is stoked, man, for the Eagles to be in. So congrats to him and congrats to all you other Philly fans out there. So Super Bowl 2 weeks away. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be a good one for sure. And finally, that other voice there, our King of Queens from inside the heart of Queens, Mr. Mesa, Sean. Sean, what's up, man?
What's going on, guys? Since I don't know anything about sports, I'll have to talk about another sport, and that is martial arts. And that I'm so excited that Tony Ferguson is going to be fighting Khabib, which is going to be an epic fight. I'm a huge fan of Tony. Khabib is a beast, and I'm hoping that they don't strip Conor McGregor, or as Tony calls him, Conor McNuggets. They don't strip him of the title. Tony and Khabib fight. That winner then has to go fight Conor McGregor.
Did they do Muay Thai food there or no?
Well, it's not food. It's an art, sir.
Oh, sorry.
It's an art. But yeah,
Sean, is that
I don't know anything
Charlotte?
about football.
I saw something saying that there's a fight this weekend, a UFC fight in Charlotte. Is there a pay-per-view this weekend? Is that the fight you're talking about?
No. That's the Ferguson Khabib fight's going down in Brooklyn, actually. Beverly and I we're thinking about getting it, but then going to it, but we're like, you know what? We'll have a better view watching it on pay-per-view and actually getting seats, and it's gonna be so expensive. Like, we'll just watch it on pay-per-view. But I'm rooting for Ferguson. I love Ferguson. He's a monster.
Awesome. Well, what's up, everybody here? Thank you here for tuning into the show, however you're tuning in, whether it's over on Twitch, twitch.tv/Guardian Radio. We do the show live every Monday night, or usually Monday nights at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 p.m. Pacific. So what's up to everybody over on Twitch? Thank you guys for tuning in. And don't forget, you can also find the podcast on iTunes, on Podbean, whatever your podcast service of choice is. You can find us over there. And you can see our ugly mugs, not only on Twitch, but also on Sean's YouTube channel, youtube.com/Mesa Sean. You can catch the video feed there every Tuesday, or always the day after we record the show. And thank you to everybody for tuning into the video over there, Sean. I mean, we've been getting some good traction. I think
awesome. Yeah.
Comments,
you guys can leave us feedback right there. What'd you say?
I got to be frank.
The comments have been hilarious.
They're great.
I got to be frank. I don't read a whole lot of comments lately. I look for the hashtags made it to the end, because I have a thing going where when you get to the end of my video, I say, all right, guys, Babel mode's engaged. If you've made it to the end, leave me a hashtag made it to the end, because if I sift through the comments, it's usually calling me a shill about 8,000 times, which, you know, I've heard that a million times.
Well, you've taken K-Dub and I under your wing, Sean, because it seems like that's all we're all getting. It's just you shills, a bunch of shills. Oh my God, they're putting videos out.
As James said, is like the one thing that's like kind of my redeeming quality is like I don't care. So all of that stuff just goes like it's always been that way. I mean, when we had Bella on the show, and she would always be like, "Oh my God, they're saying," and I'm like, "Dude, it's the internet. Just like let it go. Like, come on." And then the people that are caring and awesome, you'll find them. It's whatever. You know.
Like James Hetfield said on the Joe Rogan podcast, people. Because he moved to Vail, Colorado. It's like people there are less obsessed with stopping what you're enjoying and more into what they're enjoying. And I think I would hope more people in this gaming community be like, listen, if you're into something else, that's cool. I may not be into that, but we can coexist. We can get along.
You know what I did all weekend, Sean? I played Pokemon Go.
There you go.
I spent $20 playing Pokemon Go this weekend. I literally did.
Did you do the raid over the weekend?
I did,
Pokemon
absolutely.
Go raid?
Yeah,
Pokemon raid.
3 or 4 of them. Hell yeah.
Poke raid.
Did have some good loot drops, man, with some random are there random rolls in Pokemon?
There is random rolls.
You
and
roll that little wheel every time you go to the little outpost.
mod 2.0 system.
Yeah. But let's get going here, guys. We got lots to talk about. And real quick here, don't forget, email us, guys, feedback@theguardiansofdestiny.com, because, that's pretty much the best way to fuel content for the show moving forward. And we got some great emails coming up here later on in the show. And, of course, follow us on Twitter @GuardiansofD. But let's move on here, guys, to our news segment, the part of the show where we just talk about what's happening in the game. And there was a lot going on this week in our news segment that we call Dispatches from the Traveler. All right. Well, this week, the latest, or I guess we'll say the first faction rally for Season 2 was deployed. And I can't remember, Sean, did we talk last week about how the weapons weren't in?
No, well, the thing is,
we didn't know at the time. We didn't know at the time because
we started playing it, and I hadn't cashed in any tokens yet. And I thought it was a glitch. I thought that because we'd seen, like in the database, 5 new weapons for Dead Orbit, 5 new weapons for New Monarchy, and 5 new weapons for did I say Future War Cult? Dead Orbit. I don't know. Brain fart.
Each faction.
So we all thought that those weapons would be dropping from the faction engrams, but it turns out that wasn't communicated initially when faction rallies dropped, where there's going to be the winning weapon, right? And then in future faction rallies in Season 2, then those other weapons that I think didn't win, they'll be available through the faction engrams, Yeah,
I think what's going to happen is, so what is it, the auto rifles right now, or the potential winning weapons, those are now going to be added to the engrams. Yeah. And then they're going to have the next winning, and that's just how it's going to go all throughout Season 2. So I think each faction has 5 new weapons, so we know we're going to have 5 faction rallies, which I think is going to lead up to May when you kind of sit there and do the math and it all. But here is what Cosmos said in This Week at Bungie. He said, there's been a lot of feedback on some of the changes made to faction rallies in Season 2. I'd like to take a moment to list some of the larger topics. There's an ongoing process at Bungie to assess how we want to change Destiny 2 in the coming weeks. He says there was an issue in previous faction rallies where players were earning hundreds of faction tokens per hour without firing a single shot. In the recent December 12th update, faction token rewards were added to an existing system that was locking players out from Lost Sector rewards. We heard player feedback and the solution was too disruptive. We're looking into change that won't make players feel forced to run to and from a single chest for hours while not placing a hard stop on enjoying those lost sectors. Now, what he's referring to here was that was an issue that a lot of people were finding, was they were just finding that the lost sectors weren't being as rewarding, or they were getting chests and not getting the faction tokens, or doing public events and not seeming to get as many. And that's kind of what he's addressing there. So they put a soft cap, essentially, on how many tokens you could get in the faction rally. On top of, then he said the other question that players immediately asked when decrypting their faction engrams was, where are the new Season 2 weapons? He said it was not made clear beforehand that the new Season 2 weapons will be added throughout the events of the season rather than all at once in the beginning. He says this was on us, no excuses. So
what they were trying, well, what they were, I understand both sides of this, and I kind of agree with the way that they're going, because you shouldn't be able to go and get all kinds of rewards and engrams and everything without ever shooting a single alien in the face.
True.
You shouldn't.
You got to shoot one at least.
At least one.
At least one. Hey, man, we did the Crimson Days shooting like 2 other dudes or whatever it was.
Right, but still,
at least we shot someone.
Right, but so it's one of those things like, I look, yes, they made a mistake. They said we made a mistake. We're going to try and fix it. Hang in there. Okay, I'm okay with that. Let's fix it.
The whole thing that people were freaking out is like there was a 10-minute timeout. If you looted 2 lost sectors, you were timed out for 10 minutes from looting another lost sector. And everyone's losing their mind over this. Of course, I'm going to get tons of hate for this. I didn't see it as a big deal at all. They're making you play every activity within the game, right? So I would do 2 lost sectors. Then I would go do like 2 public events. And then by the time I did the 2 public events, I could go loot some lost sectors again. You know what I mean? They were trying to prevent the was it faction rally 1 or 2 where I would go to Titan. I would go to the 1 lost sector. I would drop down, shoot the 4 or 5 of the enemy supply caches, and get my tokens.
Cache, I like it.
Cache, it's elegant. But I would have hundreds of tokens, this and that. To me, that was boring. To me, it was more fun. Go do 2 lost sectors. Go do a public event. Oh, wait. Now the thing popped up where the capture points were. All right. So I did those. That's another 10 or 15 tokens. probably at like 10 tokens, where I have to shoot other enemies. Then I'll do another public event, and then I'll go do another lost sector or two. You know, so in essence, the locking out of the lost sectors is forcing you to do other activities within the game. I don't know about anyone else, but I never used the loot cave in Destiny 1 because I was a scrub, and I hated doing the Titan farm on the first faction rally or second one, whichever one it was, where I spent an hour with just my stereo going, shooting these stupid supply crates to get tokens. You know what I mean? And the fact that now I could buy the armor sets, and they put challenges on the ornaments, which I like.
Which was cool. Yeah, that's cool. I like that this time.
Cool. And if you did I pledged a new monarchy on my Warlock and my Huntress, right? So by far, because it looked like the gear looks great, even though the Hunter stuff has 0 recovery, but Masterworks is coming. Masterwork armor, that is. So I'll just roll that stuff because I like the way it looks. If I could roll recovery or resilience on some of that stuff, I'll be set. But you know, the fact that they put some challenges on the ornaments, and then if you pledged, I pledged new monarchy on those 2 characters, I was able to then have those ornaments unlocked on my Warlock and my Hunter by just doing those set of activities once. You know.
Well, you know, Sean, I wish because I actually didn't even know really that those challenges were there. On some of those ornaments. And like I had one pop up just randomly through the middle of I forget what I was doing. I was doing a mission. I was like, what the hell was that? And I went in, I was like, oh, that's how they did that. And today in your video, you were saying things you want to see come into Destiny. Yeah. And that's where like the record book, if there was a faction rally record book or something like that that said, hey, you're a Titan. Here's all the armor for every faction. Here's what you need to do. And you could go in there and say, okay, I got that one. I got this one. I got that one. Like they're right now. Well, I mean, what's the best way to see that stuff? Just you got to look at each piece, right? And kind of
if you have, like if you have the piece of armor, you can go in and hover over the ornament. But if you don't have the piece of armor, like at the beginning, I kept having to go back to the tower to say, well, where am I on these super kills on the EDZ and stuff like that? If they had some sort of in-game, like you said, record book or whatever, we could talk about lore sometime down the road. But I really feel like people didn't like the Grimoire cards because me personally, I'm not going to go read that stuff.
Right.
Finding the lore within all these items. If they had it's kind of annoying. If they would have put an in-game kiosk that had all the lore that you've collected and you could just go read it all at one time, you know. But like you said, something that's in-game or like a record book or a kiosk or something that, you know, you could go in and just keep track of things really.
I mean, I think that just would have been great because then it would have been that you could literally see all the carrots on the stick right in front of you rather than have to go to each vendor, look at the items that could possibly drop and all that. But let's talk about the weapons because I think that seems to be one of, if not the biggest issue, I think that a lot of people are having. I mean, the token thing is whatever. I mean, they basically took away the ability for people to, I don't want to say glitch, but, you know, exploit a system within the game and
just cheesing it basically.
Right. And by them taking out that cheese, it did affect just normal people wanting to do regular lost sectors, which does suck. But, you know, hopefully they can figure out a way to kind of resolve that or make it better in the future. But I think the weapon issue was the big deal. A lot of people who play Destiny are in there for the loot. And the fact that going into it, we had these, you know, I don't even know if it was necessarily a data mine, but we knew that we had 5 weapons coming for each faction. People are excited. This is the Curse of Osiris weapons for the new factions. And then you get in there and it's not dropping. And, you know, then you instantly started seeing people say, well, what's the point of me playing now when I can just go and grind the heck out of the very last faction rally? I'll just go play the last faction rally.
Let us play in May.
And that's an issue. I mean, and that really is something that I don't even understand how they didn't foresee that the community would respond to it that way, right?
That was a huge buzzkill, man, because I mean, right now this faction rally is just to get armor ornaments, and to me that's not a big enough carrot. It's not enough carrot. I only did it for one character, well, for 2 characters really, and it was easy. I like the fact that I could just go buy the pieces of armor if they didn't drop. I still haven't gotten the ship or ghost shell from the monarchy, but the bottom line is we want weapons. You know what I mean? Like I think we're all a little tired of armor and how right now armor is really a fashion show because it's just the way you look. And right now, I don't care how I look. I want to feel powerful, you know? So when Mods 2.0 comes out, the Masterwork armor comes out, there's no other real reason to grind faction rally for this one, at least, because there's no new toys, you know, no new weapons, you know? I want new weapons.
I mentioned this last week, and while armor is cool and the way you look is cool, there are so many different ways now to make us look different via either different armor, different ornaments, all these different things. Khalif, what's up, buddy? That the way that we feel more powerful isn't ever really through our armor.
No.
Now, in the raid, maybe because you have a certain perk that might happen with raid-specific perk, which are coming back, which is great. But the way that you feel more powerful is with a powerful-ass gun that you're whipping people's ass with.
Yeah.
And then outside of that, to have the different... So like I said last week, we don't ever say the word meta anymore because it doesn't... with all the balance that's happened, we don't ever really have those... You know what? For this, I'm going to use this gun. For that, I'm going to use this gun. For that, I'm going to use this gun. It like almost doesn't matter what gun you're using other than if you're in PvP, you need a team shot with a scout or maybe an auto.
Mm-hmm.
And then in PvE, you can kind of use really whatever. But it's just one of those things where we don't get that gun that makes us feel more powerful. Yeah. And that's what everybody is craving is the new gun, man. Yeah. You know?
Well, I think that's probably where part of the thought of the Masterwork armor perk is going to be to make you not go down, so quick where when you pop your super, you're able to stay alive longer. But the big question is and then Sean, again, your video that you brought up today, and I remember talking about it last week is how much does each piece affect it? Does it matter? Like if you just have boots, Masterwork boots,
2, 3, 4,
is it the
5,
same as 5 pieces of Masterwork? Where if they actually made it where, hey, if you have 5 pieces of Masterwork armor, you are practically invincible with that super. That will make you feel powerful. Even though the weapons, yes, I mean, Caleb, you're right. The weapons really are what makes you feel like the badass. When you're, vanilla Destiny Gallahorn.
Right, so Wreck faces my AS Luna, or when you got Galley for the first time, or when you got those
ridiculous
different guns, or Vex Mythoclast when it first came. Oh my God, dude! It's just like that's what made you feel ridiculous, and it wasn't because of the armor.
No, because we'll get to it, because we'll talk about Josh Hamrick and the exotic pass and stuff, but right now I'm not really using exotics at all because I'm using my Masterwork weapons. And even then, when it comes to legendaries, I'm using the same ones: Nameless Midnight, Origin Story, Positive Outlook, the Prosecutor. I just feel like we have static rolls, but there's not enough guns that wow me. The Iron Banner hand cannon was pretty cool because it's a high impact hand cannon with Outlaw on it. Midnight Coup is a fun one, but there's just not enough for a game with static rolls. Because that was the whole thing with random rolls, is you could take an average archetype, and if you just got it dropped right, it'd be amazing. But with static rolls, there's not. I mean, I would see some of these, from some of the destinations where it'd be like a pulse rifle with, I don't know, like Grave Robber or something on it. I'm like, why would I use that? I would never use that. You know what I mean? Or like Cascade or something like that. There is a good pulse rifle that's like a PDX 45 with Outlaw on it. But I feel like pulse rifles just in general in PvE and PvP just need a little bit of a buff or like a tweak, I think. But we want more toys, and we were talking about this before the show, but I think anything is possible right now, because in the development plan, since they said that 6s are coming back and that Rumble's coming back, now I really think anything is possible. Because last summer, I believe it was Lars Bakken, I think, was pretty adamant in an interview that Rumble's no longer here and 6s is no longer here. The fact that they're reversing themselves and saying, you know what? Maybe let's go back to 6s. Let's throw in Rumble. Means not only are they listening to it, but they're realizing, you know what, things really did work well in Destiny 1, and to remove those from Destiny 2 might have not been a great idea. Well, so why don't we start slowly bringing some things back in? So, it would not surprise me if a year from now, or if we get a Taken King like expansion in September, what if random rolls came back? I mean, that would make me
So hang on. So real quick. One thing that we discussed ad nauseum before Destiny 2 even dropped was, we know that eventually custom games will be coming back.
Yep.
We know that eventually different game modes will be coming back. We knew these things would eventually come back, but what they were trying to accomplish with appeasing the people in the community that were the most vocal and making it a more competitive, balanced scene, they had to go down the route of the 4s.
Yeah.
We knew back then that it was going to eventually be coming back. We didn't know we were going to have to go through freaking fire and brimstone to get it there.
Yeah.
Right?
But Sean, just to get back to the perks and all that, I almost wonder, what if they just, all those perks that everybody knew and loved from Destiny 1, what if that is just mods 2.0?
Yeah.
And some of those perks that you were just waiting for that God roll, it's going to be the God mod, if you want to say, that drops, that then you apply to that archetype weapon. So, I mean, Simp God and a couple other people said it in the chat. Like, these faction weapons, all they really are just reskins of other weapons. But, you know, Destiny players were collectors who just want to get it all, even though right now in Destiny 2, it doesn't really make you more powerful. You just want to collect it. But what if you're able to say, okay, well, I like the way the positive outlook shoots or the origin story. I like that, just, you know, the cadence of that weapon. But what if I'm able to put this, you know, 2 mods on it or whatever? Or maybe there's a positive outlook that drops with 1 mod slot, or maybe there's one that drops with 2 mod slots. So then suddenly now you're out there grinding to get that 2 mod slot positive outlook or whatever it is. You know, like that to me, I think is what mods 2.0, it could, I don't want to say save the game, but I mean, that way you're able to feel like a god again, or feel super powerful, because you have these weapons now that are catered to your play style, that can be badass and, you know what, be overpowered. And if they want to just say, hey, and to me, and I know I'm not a game developer, and, you know, I'm sure it's not easy for them to do it, just shut that stuff off in PvP. Yeah. And I know then the PvP community says, well, then you're not fixing PvP right now. PvP sucks. It's team shooting. And I don't, you know, if you just shut the mods off in PvP, that's not going to solve it, right? PvP is still going to have its issue. But then if you enable mods, then maybe it saves it, because then you can have those guys that are gods running around with weapons. I don't know.
People were saying, listen, man, you know, when it was unbalanced, it was fun, right? I mean, we've talked about it when it was Prometheus Lens weekend. Laser tag was fun. Sometimes having things that were unbalanced was a lot of fun. But I said in yesterday's video, you know, in talking about mods, you know, we miss perks like innervation, you know, running over an orb gives you your health back. I miss always going into Crucible. All right, I got to put my gloves on, especially my Warlock, for increased melee attack speed, you know. I miss having boots that gave me more heavy ammunition. You know what I mean? I think if they took perks that we really enjoyed from Destiny 1 and made them as mods that we could really start customizing, not our armor, but weapons, bring Firefly back or change Dragonfly to make the explosion bigger. You know what I mean? You know? Yep. But like you said, you know, we've said it before, you know, like ad nauseum, make it so that us PvE scrubs, because I'm sorry, in my opinion, I think from the numbers show it, more people play PvE than PvP. So make it so that we PvE scrubs can make god weapons and make us feel like gods, because we loved being OP. And then when you go into the Crucible, have just the base mod there, you know? But then again, if they want to make it more fun, have all the mods available. And then everyone, you know, like, will be running around with crazy guns in Crucible, which might actually be, it might not be balanced. It might be this weird thing called fun. I don't know.
They, you know, we've got an email coming later in the show, that we talk about this a little bit. We're going to talk about mods in depth going forward, but I think there are some really cool things that could happen that would make us happier, other than going back to random rolls, or happy. I don't want to say happier. Make us happy that, you know, we don't have to do random rolls, and that still is a cool thing that then I feel empowered to make myself make my weapon how I want it. And I think we have. I think it's possible. So we'll see what happens.
But, you know, it's been kind of sad, I think, over this past week, of just seeing like a little bit of excitement for faction rallies, and then just, it's like, you know, right, a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, we had the dev update. Some people took it for what it is. Some people got excited about it. At least, if anything, there was a little bit of positiveness in the community. And then this misstep again. Like, to me, it's just like, come on, guys. We got to, somebody needed to think this through. But hey, whatever. It is what it is. And, you know, if anything, you know, moving forward here in the faction rallies, hopefully they're going to look and do something different for Season 3. But let's talk about Josh Hamrick. If you're not following him on, or I'm sorry, Christopher Barrett. Let's talk about Christopher Barrett. If you're not following Christopher Barrett on Twitter, you need to be, because he has all kinds of things up on Twitter. And here is some of the things that
he said. He said the first part, and then he sent it to Josh Hamrick on that.
Yep. But he said that they've been, you know, listened to a lot of feedback, and it's, of course, many of it is centered around weapons and abilities. They feel that Destiny 2 and what makes a Guardian a Guardian. They're taking the feedback to heart, and Josh Hamrick had some thoughts on that. Now, this is in the week. This week at Bungie. But Sean, I know he put out a lot of tweets this week, Christopher Barrett. He did one where he was basically saying that, you know, many exotics could possibly be coming back, right? What was that one tweet that he put out?
Yeah, he said some fan favorite. He goes, we are focusing more on new exotics, but he said some old fan favorites will be coming back at some point. He tweets out, people follow, you know what, the guy, you know, he did respond to someone a while back saying that, you know, like someone was like, do you even think this stuff out? And he's like, yeah, I only work about 12 hours a day actually on this. But the guy is tweeting at like midnight Pacific Standard Time answering questions from folks, you know, that it's not in the development plan. So the guy's working day and night, I think, to help this. You know what I mean? But I'm looking at his Twitter feed right now. But yeah, it said new exotics are a higher priority, but we will be bringing back some old favorites too. Masterworks armor will be able to reroll the resilience, recovery, etc. When someone asked him about bounties, he said, any chance bounties coming back? He goes, since any could be somewhere between 0 and 100, I'd say yes, there is a chance. I hope bounties come back, because if you think about it, the daily milestones, I didn't realize it until late in the game where, you know what, you log into each destination, you do those 3 simple milestones, you get a boatload of tokens, you know what I mean? But they had some bounties that you could go, you know, pick up from either Ikora or Zavala or something to go do this on this particular planet, you know, so forth. Bounties were fun, you know, they were trackable, you know, and then sometimes, you know, you get materials, you know, or you
the
get...
cool thing about the bounties, Shawnee, they didn't take long.
No, there was
it was kind of fun. You went and did something, you accomplished it, and you got the hell out. It was just, it was good.
Well, I kind of liked it too, because you could kind of do it almost however you wanted. You know, like it may be like, you know, kill 10 guys with lightning grenades or whatever, and it was go kill 10 guys wherever you want, almost. You know, or there was a way to kind of work it where with the milestones now it's like you have to go to that location and do it there, and it's just, I don't know. I'm with you, Sean. I think the bounty system was definitely much better.
There's a lot of fun.
Let's go back to the week at Bungie, because this is where Josh Hammer jumped in here, and I said he wanted to take a moment, just kind of reflect or mention some things that Christopher Bear had mentioned last week in the Big Dev update. And he says, the first items on the list are the clearest and well-defined. For most of these, we are already hard at work and making good progress on them. The exotic pass, so this is the one that's going to go into the exotic weapons, is moving forward nicely with John Wisniewski at the helm. The team has also been talking about things we want to see in the next balance pass coming to you in Season 3. He says for the last several weeks. Also, Grant McKay has put together a really exciting plan for Mods 2.0 that will open up their requirements up significantly, allowing them to be more potent in ways that you'll end up feeling directly in your ability uptime and therefore total power output.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So
because right now exotics don't feel exotic right now, and I think we definitely need some adjustments to them, because right now I'm just using Masterworks. I mean, when I think of exotics, the only ones I'm using right now, you know, that was some of the fun by the end of Destiny 1 was when I would go in and play, I'd be like, all right, what fun exotics I'm going to use today? Hawkmoon sucks in PvE, but you know what? I like it. It looks cool.
It's fun anyway,
cool.
though.
I'm going to go have fun with it. You know what I mean? As of right now, just looking at Destiny Item Manager, the only fun ones for myself right now is Crimson, Vigilance Wing, Cold Hard, Prometheus Lens, Skyburner's Oath. But for the most part, if I'm doing Heroic Strikes or Nightfall, I'm going to go with my Masterworks for the most part, you know?
Yeah.
Can I say
that's actually going to make a
Wing,
difference and help you.
Vigilance Wing was my most disappointing weapon. Because
you don't
like it? I love it.
Oh,
but it should
great.
be amazing.
Yeah.
And it's not. And that when I remember watching Andrew, our buddy Andrew, Unknown Player, his video on Vigilance Wing, we dissected that thing. We had it on the show showing frame by frame stuff. Like that thing was going to be it's a pulse doing 4 bursts. You got extra stuff with the little bar. Like it was going to be the most ridiculous powerful weapon. I was so excited for it. And when it just wasn't, I was like, bro, I'm crushed, because I just loved that archetype. I love the weapon. I love the Trials look of it. I love the Egyptian theme. Everything about it, the scarab, the whole deal. I loved everything about it. And it just didn't get it, man. And I'm like, God, this thing should be just wrecking everybody. And it just didn't. So I hope with that, you know, the balance pass is coming and things like that, and these buffs and different stuff like that, and pulses in general just aren't that great. Hopefully that comes back to be glorious, because I really love that weapon.
Yeah, I'm definitely interested to see. And when do you guys think we're going to get that pass? I mean, he mentions the next balance pass coming to you in Season 3. When was the exotic slated for? Was that February? Max.
That was the January update, wasn't it?
Max
was that the January update, Shawnee?
I don't think it's coming till Season 3.
No, it's the February. It's the February update. The January update was only
Max.
What's up, Max? The January update was only the one thing, but then I think the February update is the bigger one. Yeah.
Gotcha. But so we'll see. Hopefully we'll get some news soon on that exotic pass, because I think that's something a lot of people are looking forward to, because the exotics just feel kind of pointless now. And when you can have a masterwork weapon that is going to drop orbs for your team when you're doing some of those high level activities, that's going to make more of a difference. So you can have your ability uptime. I mean, that's what they mentioned. That's part of what Mods 2.0 is going to be doing too. So let's move on here, guys, from that. And we had a very interesting post. This was actually over on Reddit, and I'll try to put the link in the show notes. But there was a graph that was pulled from Destiny Tracker. And you can kind of dissect this however you want. And we're going to kind of go into, because there are some other things that do affect what is on this graph. But I'm going to put it up on the screen here for those watching on Twitch or on YouTube. But essentially what this graph is this is the amount of players from, when are we starting here? This is August 2016 until January 2018. So you kind of got to look at, okay, what happened in the fall of 2016, right? We had Rise of Iron come out at that point. In September at that time, there was, a little over, is that 2 million? So about like 2.1 million people playing Destiny 1. Dropped off pretty drastically all the way to December, and then was pretty much at a steady pace all the way into May, June, July, all around 1 million people playing or being tracked playing. And then, of course, it spikes up with Destiny 2 all the way up to a little below 7 million, 6.9 or whatever. And then steadily here over the last few months has been going back down, but it's settling pretty much about to where Destiny 1 was, if not more, above where Destiny 1 was. Now, one thing to take into account is we now have a third console or a third population of players with PC, so that is going to be different. But, if anything, and I don't want to, I'm going to say this, I don't want people to have us say, like, you're just, defending Bungie. And no, like, the reason for this post, was to say, hey, everybody's saying this game is dead, and yet, from Bungie's perspective, more players coming from Bungie. There are more players playing now than there were 12 months ago, or whatever.
Which, if we remember back, they specifically talked about their business plan of broadening their horizons and bringing more people in, and that is actually what this kind of shows that they accomplished. They brought more people in. Now, the thing that we experience on Twitter and social and YouTube and everywhere else is all of the squeaky wheels that we hear. We don't hear the 1.5 million people that are still playing that don't squeak.
Yeah.
We hear the 50,000 people that do. And we're not saying that there aren't issues with the game. We're not saying that things don't need to be fixed. We agree with you. What we're saying is you're correct. What we're saying is all the people bitching about Eververse is still 1.5 million people right there not bitching about Eververse. Because there's still stuff that they like to do to play the game. If you go into your tower, fly into your tower's got 20 people in it.
Yep.
And lately the narrative is like, there's more people on Destiny 1. Bullshit. I logged into Destiny 1 this weekend to get some footage of some strike-specific... there
are still people playing, but yeah.
Prove my point. And... let's just say matching with people for strikes and even PvP for that matter, very, very difficult. A couple of the strikes I had to complete. I was by myself for one of them, and then on the other one, we had someone bailed twice on us, and it was just me and another guy finishing him. But it did make me realize, man, the speed of your character in Destiny 1 was so much faster. I mean, I was on my Warlock. Which character was on my Warlock Stormcaller? No. Warlock Sunsinger, I think. No, Stormcaller. And my God, it was moving around so much faster than the Destiny 2 Warlock, Why did they slow our characters down so much? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, I think, but at the same token, what did you have on?
I didn't have Mida.
But did you have certain perks on your boots and your this, that, and the other thing that it was making you move faster?
That's a good point.
I mean,
well,
you need to look at the perks and the armor and the stuff that you had on at the time. You know what I mean?
I'm looking at Destiny. I had my Wrath of the Machine gear set on. And that was another thing. I was looking at all the perks. I'm like, bonus agility when carrying the Scorch Cannon, Innervation or Infusion, I think it was. Whichever one gives you health when you pick up an orb. Increased melee attack speed. Yeah. They gotta bring those perks as mods into Destiny too. That would be so awesome.
Yeah,
I agree.
But I want to real quick. I mean, it's kind of sad that we're sitting here showing a graph, or that we show a graph here on the pod. Like that's ridiculous, right? But I mean, so if there is a question at all as to why, and not defending why things are slower when it comes to updates and things like that, but from their perspective, from people at Bungie or whatever, they may look at it and say, yeah, people are mad, but people are still playing the game. And, sadly, if anything, if you are a hardcore player and you wonder why some of the changes and decisions were made with Destiny 2, that's what I think what that chart shows, is that even though those changes were made, even though you may not be playing anymore, there's somebody that kind of replaced
the profit and loss statement
right?
for Activision looks just fine.
Just the same, right? And so that's what's kind of interesting about it. Now, that's not to say that there's not problems with the game, that, Bungie knows long term, the vocal minority, we're the ones that are going to really push it forward. And, it was the fact of people streaming on Twitch and, all those people seeing all from Destiny 1 that maybe intrigued people to, hey, let me try Destiny 2. Why do you think half the people that bought the PC version of Destiny 2 bought it? Because they saw how huge the community was and how fantastic of a game it was to be streamed on Twitch. And so all those people had an interest, and that's why they jumped in. But I just think it's interesting when I saw that Reddit there, I was like, wow, like that kind of.
The bottom line is,
right? It's
they've got
Twitter would have you believe there's 100,000 people in the game.
You know what? They've got the casuals. They have the casuals. They just need to now really cater to the hardcores, I think.
Correct.
Because I feel like in Destiny 1, they almost catered too much to the hardcores, not enough the casuals. I always bring up my girlfriend's son.
But they were trying to build a presence. They were trying to build a game. It's different.
Right. Whereas another Destiny 2, I think they've got the casual audience because it's a fun game. They can get in, have fun. I always bring up my girlfriend's son. He's 12 years old. He jumps in. He loves the game. Destiny 1, he tapped out early because it was too confusing for him, where there's still things for him to do where he plays maybe 4 hours a week. But now is the time where now they got to address the hardcores. You know what I mean? Yep. That's what I think so.
And I think they've recognized that, and that's what they're looking to do. I mean, we were even talking before we went on the air, like, I don't know if all these changes in the dev update, they look great. These changes are going to be fantastic. However, the problem is going to be drip feeding them to the community, and not really, for me, that my issue is going to be them not bringing in big, meaningful content for me then to go out and tackle with all these new updates.
Give me a meat sandwich, not a salad.
Because I said this before.
Give me a meat sandwich, not a salad.
That's what we need. And unfortunately, I'm not really expecting it. We've talked about it on the show before. Really until the fall, if anything. I mean, unfortunately, that's kind of the state that we're in right now, I think, with the game. And Bungie knows that.
Right.
Because I said this right before the podcast. They have to do something right now. That's where the development plan is. But if they actually took everything in that development plan and slapped it into the next spring expansion all at one time, straight up, we would have a buzz like everyone would be going crazy right now, because we'd have new content, we would have a new story, we would have a new narrative, we would have new weapons, we have all, and then all these quality of life changes, raid specific perks, mods 2.0, masterwork, all this all at one time. It would be almost a TTKing the game. Right. But they're in a position where they can't do that.
Right. And sadly, Sean, I think that drip feed, like, nobody's going to come back just in March to now suddenly have, whatever, the raid specific loot, and then a few weeks later for this. Like, it needs to all be done at once. But like you said, they're not in that position to do that, unfortunately.
You know what's funny? The funniest thing about it is, as negative as the community has gotten regarding the game, what's the thing that would fix it? Well, feed it is giving the community more content. Well, if everybody hates the game, why would giving everybody content fix everything? Because everybody really wants to be playing this game.
People want to be playing it. Yeah.
That's the funny thing about the whole thing. It's a catch-22. It's like everybody's saying I'm leaving Destiny, but as soon as we got a meat sandwich, oh my God, everybody be back in the Flash. You know what I mean? It's just one of those things. It's like we are so ravenous for content that's the problem that happened when they brought the live team in, and the live team seemed like it was a great idea, and we were getting drip fed stuff, and we're like, oh, this is cool, we're getting free content. But the reality of it wasn't enough. But they couldn't keep up with demand.
They can't.
No.
Yep. So,
and just like, I get yelled at every day, like, why are you covering this game? Cover other games. First off, I covered, the channel started at Killzone Shadowfall. Then it went to Destiny. Then I did a ton. People forget, I streamed The Division almost every night for 5 months straight. Yeah. I did tons of Division videos, tons of Horizon Zero Dawn videos.
DZ,
The Division. I will cover any game I like. The only other games I play right now is Battlefront 2 and World War 2. And I'm not going to upload those because I just play them when I'm not playing Destiny. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, my state of the Destiny, where I am, my channel and everything video is going to would be me saying within 5 seconds, I'm not going anywhere. Thank you. And just, you know what I mean? Like, that's literally what my video would be. You know what I mean? And people can yell at me.
Let's do it, Sean. Here, let's do your video right now.
My video's right now.
The Mesa Sean channel. Here we go.
State of my channel and State of Destiny 2. I'm not going anywhere. You're still going to see the reset videos. You can choose to watch them if you want. I don't care. I'm still going to upload them every day. You know what I mean?
Hashtag made it to the end.
Because, people think that I'm a shill and everything, but the thing is, look, I have the attention span of an angry mosquito. If I either love something or I have no interest in something, right? If Red Dead Redemption is coming out this summer, like that it got leaked June, I will be glued to that game and probably streaming it every single day. I play games I like, and right now, there's no other games. Everyone's saying go back to the Division. I did everything in the Division there is to do last summer in 1.7. There's nothing for me to do in the game anymore, And I love that people are just discovering right now. People should discover the Division. It's a wonderful game. I'm waiting for a sequel to come out, I just haven't dived back into it because I got my build.
So much that I had a video. Do you remember the start wearing purple stuff that we were doing? Like all we were doing was I had that song from that group in Europe somewhere. The Start Wearing Purple song. Remember that? We had the whole clan, everybody in there wearing purple. Dude, we did it. And it's not to say that's not a great game, but it's like people are catching on now. It's like one of those, it was supposed to kill Destiny and it didn't because you couldn't deal with the you couldn't deal with the movement. And they've really done a lot of stuff.
Dude, in all honesty, Caleb, when we played the Division, we played it. I literally leveled up to level 30 and stopped.
Right.
Like the game, I discovered it. What was that? Like a month ago, I was texting you, Sean, being like, "Man, I really should have played this game earlier.
Right.
Like this game's pretty sweet now. It is. It is a great diversion, And if anything, I think Bungie could right now learn something from them. I mean, that was kind of what I always thought Bungie was going to do when the guys from Blizzard came in from the Diablo team and came in there and how they turned around Diablo 3. When Diablo 3 launched, number one, you couldn't even play it because it was online only and it was a mess. And then it took about a year before that game turned around and they just said, you know what? It's loot. People just want loot, crazy loot. And they just threw it at people. And Diablo 3 still to this day, 6 years later, it's huge. People still play that game. And that's kind of what happened with the Division. It came out, there was a lot of loot, but, the content was kind of in, people are falling, and then now suddenly they're just like throwing loot at people, and people are loving it. And that's what I hope Bungie can maybe do something along those lines and turn.
Oh, wait, the Destiny killer Anthem is coming out now. Whoa, that's the everyone! Next one. Yeah. I was going to do a video on that this weekend, and I watched a bunch of videos to do some research on it. And it looks like an interesting game, but my biggest, because I tweeted out, I'm going to do a video on it. I just have one major concern. And everyone was like, it's EA, right? It's microtransactions. Da-da-da-da. No, it's not. It's going to be the third-person movement. That's going to make or break that game. Mass Effect's Andromeda, I think, was terrible because of the mechanics.
Like you say Mass Effect.
Oh. It's Mass Effect, right? Sorry.
Whatever.
It's like my old country.
Doesn't matter.
My old company was called
Medtronic. It was though.
It was called Medtronic, but everyone calls it Medtronic. Right? Medtronic. Mass Effect. Andromeda. The movement was terrible, and I feel like third person
movement.
It's such a finite thing. Like you got to get it right, and I feel like the Division got it right, and especially Horizon Zero Dawn nailed it with third person and being able to switch arrows and weapons and everything. If Anthem can get the third person mechanics down, I think it's gonna be a great game. I think, but we haven't seen enough.
I'm looking forward to Anthem.
Yeah, it's gonna be a cool game. I think. We'll see how it pans out.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's move on there, guys, to our clan spotlight, the part of the show where we let a clan get spotlighted here on the show. So if you're looking for a clan, and I see people in the chat, I don't know who was Science Sea Otter, and there's a couple other people are saying their clans are just gone. There's nobody in the clan anymore. Well, if you're looking for an active clan and you play on the PC, we got a clan for you. Caleb, who do we got this week, man?
That's right. We got a PC clan to spotlight this week, and it's Origins and Endings. It says Origins and Endings is the destination for Guardians who will remain active throughout the lulls and fresh content on PC, as we love the game for what it is, not what it was. Pour some out of your chalice for the Guardians who are now chasing chicken dinners and epic mounts and will never be with the fire team again. I love that. It's so funny. Daily PvP and PvE groups, including Callus, EOW, and Trials. We teach raids and help them out with the milestones all the time. Both new and experienced members active in a well-organized Discord. Obviously, if you're on PC, you should be on Discord. If you're a positive person and love the game, we'd love to have you. We're home to D1 vets whose ghost still burns bright and ambitious D2 Guardians that share the same light for this game. Our chemistry is a unique formula of skill, support, and willingness as we learn from each other and accomplish goals together week in and week out. Currently 67 strong and would love to hit 100 active members so we can easily conquer whatever the deep, dark galaxy throws at us next. Activity in the game and the Discord. If you play at least a few nights a week, you're active. Discord communication is everything. This is the foundation of the community where we communicate, plan, organize runs, and ask questions on any topic within the game. For those interested in raiding, a mic is required. During most active hours, 5 p.m. to 12 p.m., so midnight Eastern Standard, there's usually a minimum of 20 people online and playing, but others could certainly be on early/later. Contact on Battle.net is Wretch, hashtag or the number, 1935. And say what's up for an invite. Also, feel free to reach out to Gravy, hashtag, number sign, 12273 on Battle.net if you'd like to learn more about the group. That's who submitted this and is a longtime fan of Guardian Radio. Love what you guys do. Keep up the great work. Will do. If you're on PC, you need people to play with, go hit those guys up. They sound positive and like a lot of fun. Go for it.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
So, all right. Well, remember, if you want to have your clan spotlighted, you can find the form over in our show notes or just email us. Probably the best way now. So email us feedback@theguardiansofdestiny.com. So let's move on here, guys. We have the part of the show where we get you involved, where we get through some of your emails that we call Messages from the City. All right. Well, don't forget emails feedback@theguardiansofdestiny.com, just like Samurai Assassin did. And he says, hey, Guardians, Samurai Assassin here. I was just thinking about the status of our Destiny community as a whole, veterans and the new Christmas Guardians. Besides the general changes that are coming, I was wondering what community changes, if any, do you guys think should take place to bring Destiny players back? As for me, I've been playing regular strikes and jumping in voice chat. There's people out there that are still new and want help. I'll see them looking around for what to do next in a strike or wandering through the patrols. Anyways, just wanted to know what you guys think. Human Titan, Bubble Bro for life. Yes.
So I think Guided Games needs a definite revamp, and besides a revamp, but I think also more advertisement, something within the tower itself, because I was doing public events, farming for faction tokens, seeing level 7s, 10s, 15s, you know what I mean? A lot of people got it over the holidays and stuff. There are new people out there, and like we said over in that chart, there's still a sizable amount of people playing, just aren't complaining about the game right now. But I really feel like Guided Games, its mission was to bring people together to find clans, stuff like that. So I think Guided Games needs a revamp, and I think it needs to be more advertised once it's had its kind of kinks and stuff all worked out.
It had such a great intention, and Emmy Chung is an amazing person. And when we were at the D2 reveal, I mean, she literally almost cried on stage talking about Guided Games and what her clan has meant to her, and just the social aspect of it and meeting people. And she's an amazing individual. And they have the absolute best intentions for Guided Games. It's unfortunately just been a little bit clunky, and it hasn't been as easy to seamlessly get with people as I think that they had hoped. Because what happens, I think, in all online games is either A, you're a veteran that already has a group of people that you connect with, or B, you're a solo people that is afraid of everybody on the internet, as you probably should be, right? So it's one of those things like, okay, do I put myself out there and then get berated by a bunch of people because I'm a noob? Nobody wants that. Or do I, it's kind of one of those things that's just hard to do. That's why the IO 100 has been really good, because it's one of those things where you're looking at the group first, and then you get the group and then you go play. More than you're in game, you find somebody and you're like, and then they're going, oh, you noob, you have Gallahorn, right? Back in the day, it's just one of those things. Like it's kind of it's hard to find. This is in life in general. It's hard to find nice people, right? Mm-hmm. But it's just one of those things where the intentions are perfect, but they got to figure out a better way to make it a smoother, a seamless transition into meeting somebody and playing with somebody that's like-minded. It's hard to do that. Well,
it's interesting. I mean, Destiny 1 had such a big Sherpa community.
Yeah.
And, I don't know but then you look at Destiny 2, where is that community? I mean, I know there are still people doing Sherpa runs and things out there, but it doesn't seem like it's anywhere near what it was with Destiny 1. Now, I'm not, when I say Sherpa, I'm not talking trials carries. I'm talking raid Sherpas.
Right.
Sean, I mean, you did it a lot.
I could chime in on that one there.
I mean, there were so many people doing it back then just for the fun of it. You didn't, you're not running it for the loot, or people weren't running it for the loot at that point. And I don't know if maybe guided games maybe made them feel threatened, but it's like, I don't think guided games by any stretch of the means was meant to be a replacement. Maybe in the beginning it was, but clearly it didn't become that. So where is that Sherpa community right now?
I think it's because it's the raid itself. The raid itself, even the raid lair.
It's the rewards, Shawnee. Don't you think it's the rewards?
No. It's going into the Leviathan with someone who's never done it before, and let's say is maybe not 335 is below power level. It's a long raid. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's not like where we could get a Templar checkpoint in Age of Triumph and do a 25-minute run from Templar to Atheon and take someone through, or do double Crota runs. The Leviathan is a time commitment, and I think when you Sherpa people, your goal is to try to get people through it, and even the raid lair, the end fights, bringing new people through, it is pretty difficult sometimes.
It is, yeah.
Chaos, because it's like Axe's challenge mode in terms of player experience, where everyone's doing something, call outs nonstop, just absolute bedlam going on. I think it's the raid itself that pushed Sherpas away, because, man, that's a long raid to carry people. I mean, like Say No to Rage on Twitch. I mean, that's all he did, man, was take people through raids in Destiny 1. I don't know. I think he was doing it for the Leviathan, maybe for part of Destiny 2. But, I mean, I got to give hats off to anyone that does raid carries and stuff, because it's a long raid, and it can be frustrating because it's mechanic heavy too.
Each section of the raid is probably 30% longer than any section of any other raid.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about the game when you're doing the run around the circle, the gauntlet, that one part alone, if you're not synced, can take you as long as Crota. The entire raid.
Because there's so many moving pieces and all that.
And if one person misses the thing or screws something up, you're wiping and you're starting over. So it's a tough raid. But again, we asked for it to be tough.
Yeah.
And they made it tough, and now people aren't Sherpaing because it's so freaking tough. You know what I mean? But by the same token, if you have a well-oiled machine raid group, it's one of the most
fun. It's great. Oh, yeah, it is. Yep.
But then it's also time-consuming, because once you finish an encounter, you're either going to go back to the Castellum and fight all those guys again, or you're going to go through the Underbelly, and it's still time-consuming. To get to one encounter to the next is still another 15 minutes, depending if you've got folks who really know the Underbelly very well. I don't. I just follow whoever's in front of me. You know what I mean? But it's a long time commitment, and I feel like with Age of Triumph, the only raid that took a long time was King's Fall. The rest of the raids, Wrath the Machine, you could do pretty quickly, but Vault of Glass with a Templar checkpoint, you could burn through. Crota's End, you could burn through. Vault of I mean, just all of them in general.
I was actually having the itch earlier today to fire up Destiny 1 and run some of those old raids. Like, because afterwards we're going to play some Destiny 2, Caleb and I almost want to say, dude, like, let's get a raid group together and run like Crota or Vault or something like that. I was just having that itch to go back and do that, man, because those raids were just so good. So much
fun, yeah.
But it's interesting, and I think, the reason I kind of brought that up is because, he's mentioning like, you're seeing all these new players come in, and that is a great way to bring the fun back to yourself, is to experience the game through someone else's eyes. I mean, Sean, you always talk about who's the young guy that you introduced to Destiny?
Is it the young guy?
Is it like Beverly's nephew or somebody like?
Oh, Beverly's son.
Her son, right? Yeah.
And he loved.
And even like my son, when I first started playing Destiny 1 with him, and like he's getting like his first legendary engram, and he opens it up, and he's super excited. You forget about those things. So experiencing it with somebody new again brings back the fun for you, and I think that was part of Sherpa. In Destiny 1 was guys love that, being there when somebody, I mean, we even did it here on Guardian Radio. After we'd always do the podcast and then run like one or two people through the raid, and it was great. You feel awesome afterwards. Those people are so excited. And it's like, Destiny 2 for some reason seems to have lost some of that.
Something else that I think that they've missed with the Leviathan raid is when we had the challenges, and each section of the raid had a challenge and a reward. If they still had those specific, like the challenge thing, and so like this week it was Gauntlet, and you got a specific really good reward.
Is that still in there? Isn't challenge mode somehow still in there?
Yeah, but the rewards is just an extra.
The rewards aren't like it was before, right? That's the thing. Before, like when you got it done and you did challenge mode, you got some epic loot, and you just don't get that now. And I think that's one of the things. Like, if we're going to Sherpa some people through, but we're just going to do the challenge part because you can get to it. That would be a really good way to get people in there and Sherpaing, because it gives you, again, the carrot on the end of the stick that we've been asking for. Yep. And I think that would be, and again, it comes down to, it has to be rewarding, right? And if it's rewarding and the challenge is there, and it doesn't take such a long time commitment, people will play it. So I think that's something that hopefully that changes going forward. We'll see.
January 30th, we're getting the raid reward rework. We are updating the raid rewards to make them more unique and interesting.
I mean, we should be hearing about that probably this week, right?
This week at Bungie, they're going to talk Iron Banner, and I think they learned their lesson from faction rallies that they're going to be very upfront and clear what's going to be available to get from Lord Garden Saladin this time. Yeah. There's a bunch of new weapons all in the database. I did a full video. Just Google search Season 2, Mesa Sean Iron Banner weapons. I've got them all up there.
Lord Garden Saladin, I need a new dressing.
There's two pretty good ones out of the ones that are in the database. So hopefully they'll be available, and hopefully they'll do what they did. They don't want to make it too easy, whereas like you could just buy all of them the first day or two. You know, they need us to play Iron Banner for the full week. You know, but you know what? You know what I bet they'll do? I bet they'll throw the weapons in the engrams. I was about to say faction engrams. I hope that they throw the weapons in the engrams, and the armor sets with the ornaments. You could just buy that stuff to get the Iron Banner set. Yep. That's what I hope they do.
Let's see. Next email comes to us from Spectrum74, and he says, "Eyes up, Guardians. I've been an avid listener to Guardian Radio just prior to the launch of Destiny 2 and shared both your enthusiasm for the game and positivity for its future, playing nonstop since launch, despite its many imperfections. Following on from Christopher Barrett's outline for the year ahead, what do you hope Mods 2.0 will look like? For me, I wish it was a hybrid between The Division with blueprints, which could drop from activities or be purchased from NPCs, and Assassin's Creed Origins with having to farm for crafting components before finally being assembled into the relevant mod. The blueprints could be specific to the planets or activities from which they dropped, adding further diversity to our build. This would enhance the end game by giving our Guardians something else to work towards and a sense of achievement on obtaining a complete set, which could stack and bring back the power fantasy to our Guardians, which is lacking at the present time. I'm keen to hear your thoughts. Keep up the great work." Spectrum74 on PSN. And I think he kind of nails it. I mean, to me, that's the perfect thing. Like, let me go get blueprints, which would be cool. And then let me go out and get the pieces. I mean, he mentions Assassin's Creed Origins. Sean, I know you played Horizon. That's kind of how it was in Horizon.
That's
fun, Assassin's Creed basically pulls it from Far Cry, which is even pulling it from just regular MMO crafting. And even The Division was that way too. You get your blueprints and you go out and get your, epic mats or whatever it is that you needed, your electronic parts, that's how that works. I think that would be great. I know some people may not like it because it can become somewhat of a grind to do that. But I think if in the end, that carrot on the end of the stick is a mod that truly affects your gameplay, truly makes you feel powerful, it's going to be worth it. And it's going to make people come back and play to get that stuff. It's going to be worth it to do it.
I think there's going to be two scenarios. One could be that it's all RNG. You do activities within a game, whether it's the raid, whether it's level up gunsmith, whether it's get engrams, and you get a chance at just you got your new mod, or you got lucky with that outlaw mod or XYZ mod. Or they could go a really fun way and have us craft them through Banshee. Banshee, maybe once a week, will give you a choice. Here's 3 mods you can choose from. Which one do you want to build this week? Okay. Yeah. All right. You want to build this one? Okay. You got to go clear 15 lost sectors on XYZ. You know what I mean? You have to do 4 heroic strikes. You got to complete them. You know what I mean? Like, make us play. Always. I think the best way to get everyone engaged in all the activities in the game, and that's why I wasn't, so against the whole lockout on the lost sectors, because it forced me to do other things. All right, there's a 10-minute lockout. I'll go run a strike and get 5 to 7 faction tokens. All right, the goal is to get you to play everything within the game. That's what I think they should be doing. Right, so that would be great. You go to Banshee. All right, you have you log in a reset. There's 3 different mods you could choose from. All right, but you can only get 1 per week on each character. All right, I want to get this outlaw mod that can fit on an auto rifle, because right now there's only 1 auto rifle that has.
I want my
outlaw.
prosecutor to be even better.
Yeah. I rolled range on my prosecutor. That thing is stupid in the
Whatever
Crucible.
It is. You have something that you want. You have a goal in mind. You have a carrot. What do I want to do?
carrots. I need lots of carrots. I'm a bunny rabbit. I like lots of carrots.
Right.
But yeah, just like give us a set goal so that you could, make us do all the activities within the game. Basically is what it is, and make them different activities every week. Could be you want this mod. You got to spend time on Mercury tonight. You know what I mean? No, they can't do that because then people that don't have the DLC can't participate. But basically,
it could be IO, it could be EDZ, it could be whatever. Right.
Yeah.
Yep. So I think out of everything in the dev update, the two things I'm most looking forward to seeing how they roll out are the raid perks, definitely. And then mod 2.0, man. I mean, that is just, to me, that's the most intriguing thing. Like, how are they going to go? Are they going to go? Because it could either go one of two ways. Like, it could just be kind of meh and not really anything great. Or, I mean, they could even go to the extreme and just make it, like we've talked about before, crazy mods, man. I mean, imagine if they made it where...
I hope they go crazy, man.
I do too, man. I mean, that would totally... I mean, if anything shows us over the last few months of Destiny, when has a community become the most excited? It's when Mayhem came back. We got to feel super powerful and blow stuff up. And then when Prometheus Lens came in, a ridiculous god weapon came into the game for a week. Give us that. Like, imagine having the ability to have all different metas of the mods. I mean, we could have a whole discussion. I mean, like you said, Caleb, we used to talk on the show all the time about the meta of the game, the weapons in the game. It would then turn into this mod is broken on this gun. Okay, they're going to fix that. Now this mod is broken on that gun. That's the fun of it. Like, even though it's, maybe on their side creates more work, but that's kind of the point. That's what kept us all playing.
Unbalanced can be fun.
Chaos kept people happy. And here's the thing. So me coming from like, a WoW background and even in the Division, the most fun that we had with the Division, Shawnee, when we were doing it, was all those things, crafting those weapons, crafting those mods, doing that stuff to make my gun different. And then I had this gold weapon with this mod. Oh my God, look at this thing. I wreck that dude. I'm in the EDZ. I'm in the Dark Zone. I'm killing people. We're just wrecking face. It was so much fun because you put the time in to make the weapon what you wanted it to be. And then and not only that, it has to do with your play style. So I like to play at range. So I like this gun. I like to play in your face. I want this gun. So it just depends on how your playstyle is. Then you're going to go get the mod that you want, and you have a way to craft it and make your character how you want your character. That's how the game should be. And I'm really, really hopeful that this works out like we hope it's going to.
I hope so, man. I hope so.
So basically what we're saying is Destiny is a first-person shooter with some MMORPG elements to it.
Gee, that sounds really familiar.
Bring more of the MMORPG.
We need that. We need
elements. I don't come from an RPG like MMO elements, but I will say the Division for me, man, this summer, you want to talk about a time eater waiting for Destiny 2? I would spend hours just re-rolling everything because I want to get 15% critical hit damage, or I'm trying to get a refresh mask or something like that, or I want to get my four-piece striker set, stuff like that. Add more of the MMORPG like elements.
Yep. Let's see. We got another email. This one comes to us from Sean. Not Mesa Sean, but the Sean. He says, so I've collected about 50 engrams on New Monarchy, pledging on all 3 characters. I thought my luck was lousy as I haven't gotten the ship to drop. Then I equipped the New Monarchy emblem that shows how many times you pledge to that faction, and it says I'm only pledged once. Also, when I inspect the ship into the loot pool for New Monarchy, it still has the red bar that says requires pledge 3 times. I posted on the help forums, and I'm doubtful I'll get a response, but have you guys experienced this issue? This game just can't stop punching itself in the face. Which is hilarious.
I thought Sean would have the best thoughts on this.
I don't actually, because I don't have the ship. And like I told everyone, where everyone thought, you're just being an apologist. No, I simply move on with my life. I grinded for the New Monarchy armor set for the Hunter and for the Warlock, and I'm moving on with my life that there's no new weapons with there, Yep. But I haven't gotten the ship or the Ghost Shell or even the Sparrow for that matter.
See, and what I don't know is, because I've only, look, I don't have enough time anymore like I used to. I've got 2 characters. One's not a level all the way up. My Titan is, of course. So, and there's been 3 faction rallies, but I've pledged Dead Orbit, then New Monarchy, and now New Monarchy again. So I haven't pledged any 3 times. I don't know if it means of all of them or all at once.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it means in all of the faction rallies you pledge the same 3 times, or if when all of your account, it means that you did at once 3 of them. So I don't know. So I don't know the answer to this question. It's a really good question.
Yeah.
So I thought maybe Sean, you might, but yeah, I don't know the answer. I think it's just, honestly, I think it's of the faction rallies each time. If you have pledged it each time and you got into 3, then you're good. So
yep.
I don't know.
Let's see. Final email comes to us from Jay Diggy. And he says,
Digi.
"Hey guys,
it's Digi, by the way.
Digi, I like Diggy.
Yeah,
I'm calling him Diggy.
It's short for digital. I read his email.
Jay Diggs. Hey guys, just started listening to your show about a month ago, and I really enjoy it. I'm not sure if you guys have discussed this before, but I'm wondering why Iron Banner doesn't allow it to be level based like it was in Destiny 1, when your character stats transfer over versus everyone having the same power level. I want my time put into Destiny to be reflected versus a noob that hasn't spent a lot of time playing. Bring your best and see how you compare. I'm very happy to hear about the changes coming to Destiny, and I hope something like this is in the works. Thank you guys. Have a good day. JDG. I think it just boils down to them just trying to put more of that casual feel on a lot of the game, right? They didn't want casual people coming into an event when there's an event running in the game and to feel like they can't take part. I mean, I think they definitely did it so that everyone had access that could go into Iron Banner or go into Trials and have the same chance. At the same point, I would love to go back to the whole Power Matters thing, but they've made the avenues to get to 335 so easy. Mm-hmm. It's not going to make a difference anyway. We're all going to be 335s running around in there. You know what I mean? But
I agree.
It's
with
a catch-22, I think. Yeah,
I agree with him. I miss Power Matters. I think it sucks that we don't have Power Matters. It's one of my biggest complaints in the game. It's about feeling powerful, and it's also something that gives you a carrot on the end of the stick. If I can go chase something that's going to make me more powerful than that Christmas noob, and I'm going to pwn his ass in PvP because you didn't put the time in that I did, I love it. And I want to pwn you, and I'm going to stomp you, and I'm going to shoot you in the face. I mean, that's exactly what I want.
We've talked before, though, about kind of how much of Iron Banner really was almost an illusion. You know, you had to be, 30 levels lower to even get in. So there was kind of depending on the weapons that were being used, was it really that big of a difference? Even though I always enjoyed it. And even like I said, even if it was an illusion, just that fact was enough for me to want to go in there. But, it still blows me away that Trials isn't Power Matters. Honestly. Yeah, I'm with you, man. It blows me away. Yep. And Iron Banner coming, and Iron Banner's not Power Matters. It's what's killing Iron Banner, and it's what's killing Trials. Power needs to freaking matter, dude. I will tell you that one right now. I'll go hard on Bungie on that one. Power needs to matter. Well, how much is it? How much is it power of your level and armor? But how much of it also is just the weapons, man? The random rolls, all of it. The static rolls have killed it. Honestly, but if I'm more powerful, than you because I put more time into the game and we have static rolls, I still kick your ass. Yeah. But what's more powerful mean? Just that I can take one extra. You can take one extra shot than I can. I'm 335, and I have certain stuff equipped and stuff that you don't have. What's what I'm saying? What's that stuff? It's just your armor, right? You can take more damage. Basically, in Destiny 2, all that would matter is that it's not the weapons. It's as simple as any other game. I have more hit points than you. I kill you. Okay. Yeah. I don't know. I think it's pretty simple. Worst case scenario, we need to at least have a Power Matters playlist. Even if it's fours. But if we're all 335, I mean, is it going to... That's what I'm saying. So really, in the end, it's like the power that's there right now. We're not all 335. Right. We're not. Right, but I mean, the disparages between the levels. I mean, really, like a 335, somebody that's maybe a 325, 320 would definitely have less hit points, but a 333, 332 is not going to matter at that point. But it's the weapon. You have to have the weapons matter. But remember how hard we used to make sure that we grinded to make sure to get to that power level. Yeah. Oh yeah, you're right. We had to make sure we were at that because if we weren't, for the raids, not for Iron Banner. Even a PvP, Iron Banner came. If we weren't max level, we were like, shit, this is gonna suck. Yeah. You know what I mean? Just saying, power matters, man. It does. Yeah, but I think for Power Matters to truly make a difference again, it needs to be, we got to get rid of the static rolls, man. To me, I think that ultimately right now, and not even necessarily get rid of the static rolls, we need those mods to make a difference because when they say those mods will make you feel more powerful, that's where it is. That's where the powers are going to matter. My gun has Firefly on it. Yours doesn't. I blow your head off. You explode. The guy next to you dies also. Or catches fire. That's what we need that in PvP. As much as it sucks for people to say like, oh, it's not fair. He has that. Well, it is fair because that guy that has that Firefly mod, he went out and he grinded the crap to get that mod to be able to put onto whatever the weapon is And then that's where power truly matters. And then it shows that, hey, he's played a lot more than me, and I can't just log in once a week and go to Hawthorne and get my clan stuff. Because it doesn't matter. Like that point, it's not going to matter. You need to be grinding to get that powerful stuff. And I think that's where they've lost it. Like Destiny 2, unfortunately, doesn't have that right now.
Nope.
They're working on it. It's going to be coming, but I think that's what.
Let me just read you a tweet from Josh Hamrick from the Sandbox team. He said, at the highest level, we want to make you feel more like a god as you're playing the game. I think that will influence all of our decisions, and I believe is what, if you totally condense it all down to a single statement, is what I'm hearing from the community as well.
That's it. That's it. You want your guardian to feel just like a god. You want to be powerful. And that's why, like I said, I think things like Mayhem, that's what, to me, over the last 4 or 5 months, that's when the community has been the most excited, is when Mayhem, that in Prometheus Lens, people went bananas those 2 weeks.
Let me ask you guys a question. Let me ask you a question. In any other game, COD, let's talk about COD. If you were getting your butt handed to you in PvP because somebody was more powerful than you, what did you do? You wanted to become, either get that weapon or do whatever that they did to get to that level to be more powerful, so that you weren't getting your butt handed to you in PvP all the time. It gave you the motivation to play more. And that's what Power Matters does. It's not about anything other than giving you a reason to play. If I'm going in and I'm seeing everybody is 330, not everybody, but a lot of people, the people that are 335 are just totally demolishing me, and I'm 315. Guess what I'm going to go do? I'm going to go play until I'm 335 and then try to go back in there and be either even with them, and then still pwn those people and make them feel like I felt when I was 315. Because that's what you want to do. You want to feel more powerful. And that's why power does matter. And that's what I think Bungie has missed in D2, is the power matters part. That's my personal opinion.
That, and they also, you know, when Curse of Osiris came out and they increased the level cap to 20 to 25, and then the power jump was 305 to 335, I think for each expansion, make it way, way higher than that. Make us suffer, okay? We're going to complain about it. We will complain about it. Make us grind our asses off. I mean, I was 330. I had my first 335 within a week, I think. You know, you could be level 25 in a matter of hours, you know, with just like a fire medallion booster and stuff. But I think they really need to extend, because look, if you throw a number in front of us, more than, I can't speak for everybody, but for myself, I'm going to grind for it. You know what I mean? Right. If the next expansion, they said the light level is going to be 400 and they go from 335 to 400, at first I'd be like, geez, I'm going to have a lot of grinding to do. But you know what? That'll keep me logging in every day, because that's stupid. Look, you know how pissed off I was when I could not get, I had my, all 3 characters were at 304. That one number to 305 drove me bonkers. You know what I mean? Just because I was missing a class item on my hunter and one other piece on, you know, like each character. And I kept playing and playing, and then I got it. I'm like, all right, I'm done. You know, whereas I feel like they really need to, if they're going to raise the level cap, raise it really high. And if they're going to raise the power level, raise it really high as well, too.
And I, you know, I've said this before, and I don't really want it to go back to this, but for me, the most exciting and most fun time leveling that I've had in Destiny was vanilla Destiny, Vault of Glass, running every week, trying to get that level 30 helmet or level 30 boots, and you know, for a month you're stuck at level 29. God. Like,
how many
forever
times
29?
But how when that thing drops, complaining about boots, I can't get my
shoes, my raid shoes.
Dude, I mean, honestly, as much as that sucks, and as much as that alienates so many of the player base, especially the new players, the casual players that are here, that to me was the best. That was the greatest. And again, we had the luxury of having a raid group, a clan, people that we were running with every week. So we were able to do it every week. And of course, not everybody can. But I think that was awesome. And then, you know, that brought in Sherpas. I mean, here I am talking about, what was it, the Sherpas? Though people were Sherpaing people through just to hear them excited over getting those things dropping. Right. I mean, that was, to me, the most exciting that Destiny's ever been for me. And, you know, now the fact that they've made it easier to hit max level, as great as that is, and, you know, people everybody can get there. It just kind of, you know, I don't know, took away from some of what it meant to be a level 30 back then, or what it meant to be max level. But, you know, in the end, I'm sure it probably is for the better, again, because it gets the casual people there. But I don't know. I kind of enjoyed that. It was pretty awesome.
I agree.
But, all right, well, let's end on that note, guys. Again, email us, feedback@theguardiansofdestiny.com. We love hearing from you guys, so email us and help us keep content flowing. We have more emails. Like we said, we are just banking a bunch of these as we can continue to flow them out.
Yeah, thank you for those.
To you
We
guys.
need them all. Yeah.
Yep. Actually, next Monday, I'm trying to think as we've been trying to say, follow us on Twitter at Guardians of D. We can let you know when we are recording on, how about Tuesday next week, guys? We good for Tuesday night?
I'm good.
Tuesday the 30th. Yep.
November, yep, January 30th. So next
That's the
week
day of
we
the
will
update.
not be
That's the day of
recording.
the update, by the way.
Right. Yes.
January 30
That'll
update.
be coming out. So we will not be
that's-
recording on. Oh, Sean, is that cool?
I don't. Well, if all that content, if the update drops at 30, I'm probably gonna be streaming all day.
Okay.
Can we play it by ear?
Let's play it by ear. So, guys, follow us on Twitter at Guardians of D. We'll see what this week at Bungie says. If we do it Monday, it's going to be later than normal. So I can still do Monday, but just where I'm working that day, it's actually not at the normal store that I work at. It's like 40 minutes away. So if anything, it'll be a later show on Monday.
I'll do it late.
Just,
Yeah, if we need to.
but if anything,
It's
as long
going
as
to drop at what time on the 30th? It drops like at 1, no?
Well, if it drops at the
Sean will
reset,
be streaming it.
yeah, like I'll be working and grinding and making videos all day on what's new and what.
Yeah.
That'll be
you can
so
get.
much fun to talk about that night, Sean.
I know, but I'm going to be raiding all night trying to get the raid reward.
Raid
reward.
perks, that's right. So
I'm
let's
still trying to
shoot
get
for
the
Monday.
raid
Let's- okay.
I
Let's
want
do
the
this.
new
We'll
the
do
new
the
raid the new raid shoes make me run faster, K-Dub. They're not. I have my raid galoshes on, so I don't slip in the gauntlet. Hello.
So all right, so we'll plan on Monday. It'll be a little bit later, maybe 9:30ish, if anything, because I should be able to swing 9:30 at that point. So next Monday, 9:30, live on Twitch, twitch.tv/Guardian Radio. Thank you everybody who showed up tonight. We love seeing you guys here. The chat's been going crazy all night. If you want to see what was on Twitch, you can find us on Sean's YouTube channel, youtube.com/Mesa Sean. You can find the archive of this. You can also see the chat because we've had the chat up there. Again, subscribe to us on YouTube or on iTunes, Podbean, all those places. You can subscribe to us. What do you guys got? Anything you want to throw out here at the end?
Just usual. Mesa Sean on YouTube, Mesa Sean on Twitter. Oh, I got sponsored by Astro Gaming now.
Yes,
and I just banged on the right now. Yeah, so Control Freak, Scuff, Astro, and also Elgato Gaming. But Astro, they're going to send me I think a nice care package because my Astro A40s and TR Mix amp I've been using for now. I'm completely out of focus right now. But anyway, I've been using my Astro A40s for 2 years now, and they've taken a beating. And I've got my Mix amp, and they still work great. So they're going to be sending a whole bunch of new stuff. I'll be doing giveaways every month, and I'll have a bunch of free product and stuff to review, and also like to give away and stuff. But they make a lot of new entry level stuff too that I really want to test out and compare to the A40s, and also you could use them with things like the Mix amp that you could buy separately and stuff too. So
Sweet.
All I can say is go Team Mystic. Get out there and do those raid battles.
Team Mystic Rose?
See,
Mystic Rose?
You know what's
What are you
funny? I
talking
told Mystic Rose back when Pokemon Go first dropped that the reason that I selected Team Mystic was because of her. She didn't believe me.
Oh.
Yes.
I totally did. So yeah, it's awesome. But
I
yeah,
will
dude.
say too, here's a little thing at the end. If anybody out there is looking for, you're getting your Destiny 2 time in, you're doing your milestones, but I know a lot of people are moving on to some other games. If anybody out there is playing Monster Hunter World starting this Friday, please hit me up. I know I got some other people who are going to be hunting this weekend and that, but it's a game coming out this week. And I know a lot of the people, it looks like a lot of the people moving on from Destiny or at least looking for something, a Destiny-like type game. Monster Hunter World, loaded with crafting, loading with repetitive things where you're just running missions over and over, and it's a great co-op game. So check it out this weekend for sure. There's one thing I want to throw out there. So, all right, everybody. Well, thank you everyone for tuning in and making us a part of your week. However you're tuning in, whether it's through iTunes, through Podbean, through Twitch, through YouTube. Thank you so much, guys. And with that, we'll catch you next week. Later.